What's going on, guys? Okay, got another full day of eating for you. So I am in the nitty gritty of this diet. In the fourth quarter, I'm about 16 weeks into this thing, down about 38 pounds, lean, depleted, and I'm suffering. So in the last full day of eating video, you guys saw the big mega high carb day. You saw the fun day. The full day of eating before that, it was kind of that medium day. Midpoint of the diet, food was still pretty high, so we were still in a good spot. Right now, this is gonna be my low day. So this is a non-training day for me, so carbs are significantly lower than a training day would be. But just at this point of the diet, food in general is pretty low. So I am hungry, fatigue is high, even just struggling to make this video right now. So this is where you got to make your money when it comes to a bodybuilding style prep diet, right? These are the days that you got to push through, that you got to grind through. And I've got a few little tricks up my sleeve as far as, turning a low calorie day into more food volume, making it a little bit more interesting, adding some variety to it, trying to find ways to allow it to take up more space on a plate, which I'll go into here. But one thing I wanted to address, people ask me, are you going to compete? Are you getting on stage? And I've considered it. Getting on a bodybuilding stage is on my bucket list. However, it's not going to be this year. I'm just so deep in coaching, my podcast, business, the YouTube channel. I have so much going on that, I'm very much an all or nothing guy. If I set my sights on a bodybuilding competition, that is going to consume me. And that's going to take so much of my priority. Whereas I want to give my athletes, my nutrition clients, my podcast, the content I'm putting out, I want to give my full effort there. I'm kind of doing it for the love of the game. I've always been a strength athlete, strongman competitor, powerlifter, and pursued just the highest level of strength I can pursue. But I've gone through some just substantial injuries, and I've kind of accepted my strongest days are behind me. Now I'm always going to try to be as strong as possible, but really the kind of thing I can really pursue at a high level right now is physique related. And then so much of my coaching is nutrition coaching. I'm very much a believer in walking the walk and showing my athletes, my clients, that I do this at a high level. I take this to the highest level I could possibly take it within my own life. And plus it's good for business. It's good for content. I just love doing it. I love challenging myself. So anyway, low carb day. We're gonna get about 150 grams of carbs in total on the day, which for me is not a lot. Meal number one, I've got an omelet here comprised of 50 grams of protein worth of egg whites, scrambled with spinach, added 2 whole eggs to it, got a dollop of salsa, and then some 0-calorie Taco Bell mild hot sauce on it, salt, pepper, a little bit of potassium salt. I'm supplementing with some additional potassium, which is a little bit of a hack. Electrolytes are high, but obviously this it's a big old omelet. Not a lot of calories, but all the egg whites, the added spinach, the salsa, all of those things give it some volume. There's 2 whole eggs in there for my fats. And my carbs over here, I've got 25 grams of carbs worth of oatmeal with 1 tablespoon of a natural almond butter. So this is like a dessert to me at this point. Taste buds are so sensitized deep in a diet that just like that taste of almond butter and the hot oatmeal is so good. And then you're gonna see me drinking a lot of this here late in the diet. Double shot of espresso. Little hobby at home is making espresso. I got a Breville Barista Pro espresso machine. I'd be ripping a lot of caffeine, probably more Zins, nicotine than I should be today, but hunger is so high and I'm just kind of leaning on that hard at this point in the diet. But anyway, I'm gonna get meal number 1 down, go to the gym, get some cardio in, hit the sauna a little bit, and we'll see you guys for meal number 2. Okay, so I'm just between meals here, between meal 1 and meal 2. About to head over, do my cardio. I just wanted to touch on a couple tools that I do use just for energy, hunger control, a little bit of a metabolic boost for a fat loss purpose. And I want to talk about caffeine and nicotine, and then also just give a shout out to a product that I do use. So you guys know I'm with Troponin Supplements and I endorse a lot of their products. And one of my favorites of theirs is the ATP supplement. It's an effervescent tablet. You drop it in your water like an Alka-Seltzer. Tastes great, kind of fizzy. But it's got 300 milligrams of caffeine and then a nootropic ingredient that just helps me with mental clarity, gives me kind of a surge in mood and focus. I take it before I podcast, before I have a long work day, but I can also use it as a pre-workout. So on a low day like today, where I'm just gonna go do a bunch of cardio conditioning work, this just puts me in a really good headspace and just kind of gives me a good surge. And then no affiliation, however, using the Zen 3 milligram nicotine pouches. And when it comes to, the caffeine, nicotine, generally speaking, I tend to advocate, hey, try to minimize it, right? When it comes to nicotine, you don't want it to be something that you're just dependent on, you're using all day. It can elevate your blood pressure, elevate your resting heart rate, and just any substance that you're addicted to. There's probably something to be said for that as, maybe being a negative. But it's also a tool that has utility. And when you're in a diet and hunger is high and energy is low, especially if you're someone who needs to, be sharp mentally and functioning, bringing in some nicotine, I see no issue with it and I utilize it. So I would just be, somewhat strategic. If you're like me, you're dieting, you're between meals, I'll use some nicotine. It helps me just suppresses the appetite a little bit. It boosts your metabolism. It helps with fat loss. Same with the caffeine. You can talk about these over-the-counter fat burner supplements. And at the end of the day, nicotine and caffeine are just going to be kind of two OG fat burners and just aids to a fat loss phase through both appetite control, hunger suppression, and giving you the metabolic boost. But I do encourage you guys to try the ATP. It's going to taste great and it's going to give me a good little boost here. So I'm going to head to the gym, get in some conditioning work, prowler sled pushes, med ball slams, battle ropes, do some bike intervals, hit the sauna, and then come back. We're gonna break out meal number 2. Okay, meal number 2. Just got back from the gym, wrapped up some cardio, some conditioning work. I'm absolutely starving. So got my little sweet treat here. So broke out the Ninja Creamy. This has been my favorite meal on these low carb days. So what I made was plain non-fat Greek yogurt, hydrolyzed whey isolate, and ground cinnamon mixed in. And then in the Ninja Creamy, blending that all together with some frozen fruits. The way I do this, and this is a super easy Ninja Creamy snack to make. A lot of them require freezing it overnight, kind of making the ice cream and stuff. Doing those smoothie bowl is super easy. So what I do is I basically, in this bowl, mix the plain non-fat Greek yogurt, the whey isolate, the ground cinnamon, stir that all up. And then in here, I'll do a layer, half the Greek yogurt, half the frozen fruit. A layer of Greek yogurt, half the frozen fruit, stick it in, put it on smoothie bowl mode, and then makes this delicious concoction right here. Added in a sprouted grains cereal. So this is just a flourless cereal, high in fiber, protein, and then 20 grams of raw almonds to that for my fats. So all in all in here, I got the yogurt, the whey isolate, almonds, sprouted grains cereal. I'm gonna add a couple pickles in for a little extra sodium and just some of that good cold crispy crunch. And then of course, got my Starbucks Grande Pike's Place. So I'm gonna get this down. We'll see you guys for meal number 3. All right guys, meal number 3. So going with kind of a Chipotle bowl type of thing. In here, I have 8.5 ounces of a 93.7 ground beef. Now I'm pretty diligent in draining all the fat after cooking. So it, yields a pretty lean beef there. I'll add on a little bit of additional fat from guacamole. Now, if you ever go to Costco, they've got these individual guac packs, about 7 grams of fat per packet, which is a perfect serving for me. So I'll throw this on top. I've got a dollop of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, which is my sour cream, and that is really what ties this whole dish together. Just adding some of that creaminess to it. Some shredded lettuce, and then I've got these kimchi pickles, which I really love these things. So it's a Cleveland brand, the same brand I get my actual kimchi and sauerkraut from, but it's basically sliced pickles marinated in kimchi. And you guys know me, I'm big on fermented foods for gut health. So in almost every meal, I'm including some sort of a fermented food, right? So I've got the kimchi pickles here. The last meal we had the Greek yogurt. The next meal, I'll do sauerkraut. My final meal, I'll just do the actual straight up kimchi. But throw some sriracha, some mustard on here. And Jesus, this guy drinks another coffee. Yeah, I'm starving and I'm just a coffee connoisseur, guys. I'm just a fiend for espresso and I've got a great machine here. So this will be my last coffee today. Another little double shot of the Counterculture 46 bean. Highly recommend it. I'm starving. I'm gonna get this down. I'll see you guys for meal number 4. All right, guys, meal number 4. So very similar to the last meal, going with another Chipotle type bowl. So I got 8.5 ounces of 93.7 ground beef with the fat drained. 50 grams, that's a big tablespoon worth of that plain non-fat Greek yogurt as the sour cream, Got some shredded lettuce. I'm going with some sauerkraut. So again, my fermented food for the meal, and this tastes great. Nice little flavor. But then also, of course, the gut health, some additional fiber, and just some additional food volume in the meal. I'm kind of doing everything I can just to volumize the meal. Calories are low, so as much space on the plate I can take up, the more stomach space it fills, the more it keeps my appetite in check. Also have some sweet potatoes added to this meal. So 25 grams of carbs worth of sweet potatoes. And with every food that I'm going with, now the calories are getting low, I'm trying just to maximize micronutrient density. So something like a sweet potato as opposed to white rice, because I'm going to get additional fiber, additional potassium, additional vitamins from it. I'm going to go ahead, get this all down, and then I've got one more meal remaining on the day. So I'll see you guys there. All right, guys, meal number 5, last meal of the day. And on a low day, this is like the last day of vacation for me. It's bittersweet. It's like, it's my favorite meal. It's the grand finale, but every bite I take, it's like it's one bite closer to the last bite, which means no more food. And when you're starving, deep in a diet, that is a painful moment. So I'm going to cherish every bite of this. So what I have here, same omelet that I did this morning, egg whites, 50 grams of protein worth of egg whites, 2 whole eggs added, scrambled with spinach, some extra food volume, fiber, potassium. I've got a side of kimchi here. So again, going with the fermented foods, a little extra volume, great flavor. Just adds a little something to the meal for me, as well as just addressing the gut health component. Here, I've got my carbs, 25 grams of carbs worth of oatmeal, and then my favorite addition, a little bit of dark chocolate. So I use this Lily's brand dark chocolate. It's 70% cacao. So it's a rich antioxidant source, healthy fat source, fiber, and then I'm just using 7 little small squares of it, which is less than 1 serving on the package, so a little bit of extra fat there. And then going with 240 milliliters, that's 1 serving of a Fairlife fat-free milk. I like including a serving of milk daily. Another good gut health component that goes underrated a lot, a source of calcium. And then the Fairlife brand, it's lower in lactose, higher in protein. So then I've got my pre-bedtime supplements here. I'm cranking up the magnesium, which is helping me sleep, increasing my dose of zinc. I've got some TUDCA, some kidney health supplements in here. So that's that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this down. That's going to wrap up this low day of eating. So I'm going to push this diet another week, pull off that last little bit of body fat, and then see the physique that we've built. And then the next time you guys see a full day of eating video from me, it's going to be a much more fun one, at least for me, because that will be featuring the gain phase where we are pushing up for size. So anyway, guys, appreciate all the support as always. If you're liking the content, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'm going to be dropping videos every Thursday, as well as episodes of the Hammer and Chisel Performance Podcast every Tuesday. So catch you guys in the next video.